Enough respect, we network across the globe, cause it's a global market in case you didn't know. And since we all about information flow, let me be the first one to welcome you to Tech Zone with Paul Amadeus Lane. Let's talk tech, cause technology changing the game. It's all good in the hood, it's everywhere. Now let's get to the show, cause we live on air, yeah.
Yes, we are everywhere, coming back in our third and final segment of the show. So happy to have you join us on KMET 1490 ABC News Radio, also on live stream, on YouTube, all the formats. We appreciate having you stay with us on the show. And like I said in the beginning, you will not be disappointed in this last segment. Ask any baby boomer out there, and I hate to generalize because they're going to get mad at me. They're going to say, what you talking about? We're all not like that. But, you know, some people, when it comes to innovation and children, and they have a mindset. The mindset is the Xbox, PS4, sitting in front of the gaming console for hours and just not getting anything done, not learning anything. Well, if you think that way, I hope after this interview that you will definitely change your mind. Because there's a company out there that was just named one of the top 50 startups by Tech.co and the Consumer Technology Association, which is a shameless plug because I am an innovation judge broadcast live for the last 6 years. Yes, a shameless plug. But this one company right here, I think, is doing something amazing when it comes to innovation. And no doubt you've seen commercials out there for other companies who have this kind of innovation in the software. But what makes this innovation right here by this company so remarkable is that they're a startup company. And to be a startup company, you really have to put yourself out on the line because you are starting out this company and you're hoping that the public will, respond to it. And that's why I reached out to them, because I think they have a winner. We're talking about the great folks at 7 Generation Games. And their website is amazing. And joining me right now, I have the CEO, co-founder of 7 Generation Games, talking about Maria Burns Ortiz. How you doing, Maria?
Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
Hey, great to have you with me. So, hey, what's going on in the world of tech with you guys over there?
We are keeping busy. We are building games that make kids smarter, we say. Math plus social studies plus adventure gaming. We think it's kind of a winning combination.
And I would have to agree with you on that, because when I was doing research about your company, I like this one thing that I saw on the website, and it talked about how to save your entire village from an illness. Maria, how did you guys even come up with something like that? Because I think that's amazing, because in my humble opinion, that it teaches kids empathy, problem solving skills, a lot of things that they may not learn from 1+1.
Right. Well, and I mean, we have a whole bunch of, little inspirations that led us to this point, but it came down to, we looked at why are kids failing at math? And that's not a blanket statement. 26% of US high school graduates are proficient in math. So that means they're not even good at math. They're just meeting the basic standard. And we thought that, there's so much talk about how transformative technology can be when it comes to education. But we haven't seen a lot of results, especially when it comes to games. And we thought, well, you were talking earlier, what are kids? They're on games all the time. So what if as a parent, sometimes I'm like, I need to get my kid off that iPad. But what if I didn't have to feel guilty about it, And we looked at what do really good games have, not just what's really good in education, although we have that foundation as our company. And then we thought, how can we marry the two? So it's not just like quick drill and repeat, but putting math in context and using social studies or history as a storyline, because good games have good stories. And where do we get rich stories? Well, history is full of them. And kind of like I said, context. So you don't need to know 5 times 5 because someone's going to run into your office and shout it at you. But if you have 5 sick people and there's 5 of this herb, how many do you need to bring back to help your village? And kind of we started building on that. And that really connects with kids a lot more than you have to know this because I told you you do.
Yeah, that's so true, Maria, because when I was growing up in the school, I was like a smart aleck, right? So I would always say, why do I need to know this? Is somebody going to come when I work and say, give me 1+1 right now? But if somebody would have presented to me in that way, it would have made learning a lot more enjoyable for me. And when it comes to this organization, I always like to know about the backstory. When did you, being a co-founder, when did you and the founder realize, say, hey, this is something we want to tackle? Was it a void that you guys saw personally as being parents, to say that we want our kids to bridge that gap? Was that the case?
Yeah, so we're very untraditional in the founder story. So we're a tech startup, and my tech co-founder, one of them is my mother.
Oh,
And she,
awesome.
yeah, right. I mean, it's cool, it's fun. But she has a PhD in educational psychology with a specialization in applied statistics and psychometrics, which is kind of, I just tell people it's basically in standardized testing. And we knew that kids were failing repeatedly in math. They were not succeeding, and minority kids were doing substantially worse. And we couldn't accept that. And we were both looking for a new opportunity and something to do. And you would think, okay, maybe a tech startup when you're kind of establishing your career wouldn't be the thing you would think of. Let's give it all up and try this. But we thought, if we could really make a difference and start to change things for kids, especially kids that don't have people creating technology for them, that could be transformative. And that's when we started thinking about that. That's what we really, really wanted to do. So we did it.
And Maria, again, I truly appreciate the story, because if you notice, like in my theme song, I always talk about it's all good in the hood and everywhere, technology, because sometimes, I remember growing up, I always tell the story on the air a lot. I remember my father bought the first microwave. It was like $1,000, and not
Mhm.
everybody had the technology of a microwave in their home. It was only ones who could really afford it. And that got me to thinking when I got older. Now technology is everywhere, no matter what a person's walk of life is. You can go to inner city kids, you can go anywhere to the suburbs. Everybody now seems like an even playing field when it comes to technology. Everybody has a smartphone. Ones have pads. They have all these mobile devices, and I'm so glad to hear you say that about education and bridging that gap.
Right. Well, and you think about it, and a lot of technology, though, sometimes, especially when you're looking at games, things aren't being created for all communities. They're being created. The New York Times had a great article about, a lot of apps these days are being created so the 1% can live like the 0.1%.
Absolutely.
Oh, how do I valet park my car? There's not a low, and that's not a real problem. At the end of the day, we look at what can we do to make life better for everyone and for generations. And both of us are Latina. So, that background comes into play. And I think looking around and saying, okay, there's nobody, we see so few people like us in tech, and everybody's talking about how that's the future. And you look at STEM, and 60% of new jobs are going to be in STEM. And you have 12% of Hispanic and Native American kids and 7% of Black kids meeting standards, not so we couldn't accept that. And so that's really why we sat down, we started thinking, well, what can we do? And it's not just for these kids or those kids or, but so that it could apply to everyone. And that we wanted to make sure that, we're doing apps and we're not pricing people out and we're not making it so you have to have, high speed at all times and things like that to take into account so we can make technology that is better.
Absolutely. And I'm looking at your website right here, and the website is amazing. And as you're looking at it too, what are some of the features of the website you'd like to articulate to everyone out there?
Well, obviously we have a buy page, so I love to promote
Absolutely.
that.
Yeah, click here, buy now.
But we also have a demo so that people can go through and play it and see what it's about. We talk about our research because one of the big things that we think is really important for educational games is that they work. So there's some games where it's like there's one and they were talking about I'm not exactly sure how it works. It teaches algebraic thinking or emphasizes brain plasticity. No, we can talk about exactly what standards every game aligns to and show the improvement that kids have made from playing our games versus control groups. So we put a lot of research into our games as well. But I mean, the biggest thing I think is, checking out the games because that's really the fun part.
That is so true. And Maria was so kind to send me some video of some of the games. And Maria, what I'd like to do is check out the product video, and maybe you can give us a little walkthrough of what we're seeing right here. And this is the product video that you sent me, and this is awesome.
Yeah, so what we this first show, shots are there's for our first four games that we have. And what we wanted to do was create an adventure game, a video game that looks like a video game, not educational game, because that's what kids are playing. And we look at it, we're competing against Xbox, we're competing against PlayStation, we're competing against other leading non-educational apps because that's what kids expect as far as quality. And so we wanted to really integrate the gameplay with a 3D virtual world, or in terms of apps, a quality 2D virtual world, and build that out. So that's been really a key part of what we've done. We draw from lots of video games for inspiration. We work really hard on water and things like that. One of our developers is a physicist, so he makes sure that the stream for the
Mhm.
flow for the river is correct. One of the other things that we're doing is our recent game Aztec that is in alpha right now is also bilingual, and by bilingual, kids can play through it in English or Spanish. They just click a button and it switches back and forth language wise, because we think, again, it's looking at ways that we could enhance technology without excluding kids, but to make it as inclusive as possible.
I think that's awesome and amazing what you guys are doing. And as a team, when you guys discuss, like, I guess, content or future growth, what is like the driving factor in coming up with maybe new adventures or new walkthroughs?
One of the things we do is we look at cultures. We work with cultures. So the games that depict Native American culture, we have staff on the reservations that are tribal members that are giving us
Nice.
input to that, vetting everything on that. We have history teachers that are working on all the elements. And really, there's no shortage of possible stories because history is full of so many quality stories and so many of them that aren't told. For us, it's kind of figuring out what do we want to focus on next because there's so many things to pull from.
Awesome, amazing. And we have a walkthrough too. And I want to show our audience that right there. And maybe you can give us some little commentary on that right there. So this is the start of the game right here.
Yeah, so this is our brand new game making camp. So we've done some computer games and now we're transitioning into the app market. We really thought that was a place we wanted to go, and now we have the opportunity and the focus to go there. Because we were building out things for schools. Not all schools had iPads, but now we really think the consumer market is great. So what the purpose of this game is kind of creating one of these ones where you do build your own virtual world, but instead of having to purchase digital current or use real money to get digital money,
Right.
or watch ads or come back every 20 minutes, kids solve math problems. They learn about culture, social studies. We're also adding a language arts element. As they go through, they can play from a whole bunch of different games, whether it's kind of a memory game. We have a division with refrigerator magnets, a tic-tac-toe game. We have a whole bunch of games. You can get a puppy and you can name your puppy. And what we do is then we randomly generate all the equations so they can play through it over and over and over again. So it's not like they played it once and they're done, because as a parent, that would drive me crazy. And then they go and then they can take these points that they've earned, then they get to trade them for digital items, and then they get to kind of fill it out. They also have, we have videos. So it's not just testing you on what you know, but it's explaining things to you. Do you not know terms? Do you not know how to do long division? So it's not just drill and repeat, but it's really explaining concepts and reinforcing them to kids, because it doesn't, always, if you don't know it, you can give me 50 problems and I'm not going to get it, unless you explain it to me. And one of the things that games are great for when it comes to education is in education, kids are taught that failure is so bad, but in learning, you have to fail sometimes. So in a game, you learn, you lose, you're used to that. That's part of the game concept. And so we teach math elements. We also teach, again, tribal history, based on each game's going to be based on a specific Native American nation. So we focus on those, tribal culture. And then you get to go and you get to trade in your points for cool things like puppies, tribal, if it's like a parfletch with, if you don't know what it is, then you get to click on it and it explains it to you. So all these ways that it's integrated into kind of your own little virtual world.
I think it's awesome. I know I'm using that superlative a lot, but I can't say anything. I mean, this is cool. And one thing I like too is that it said you got the wrong answer. It didn't kill you, but you still got it wrong. I
Right.
love that because it puts a little fun in
Right.
the learning as well too. And I just had a father who recently had a stroke back in April, and I'm going to get this for him because it affected him. He has aphasia, so it affected his cognizant skills. And I think this right here too will no doubt help ones in the who are dealing with medical challenges where the brain was affected, teaching them some things that they have already known, but they have to relearn. And I think this is just the tip of the iceberg for you guys.
Right. Well, and that's one of the interesting things. One of the very first schools or was an after school program, and they reached out to us and they said, "Can we use your games?" And we said, "Well, we know that you, yeah, yes, of course, but we know you target high school students, and a lot of our games are, late elementary, early middle school." And they said, "That's okay because our kids are so far behind that they're at that level, but they will not do remedial worksheets. They won't, sit and go over flashcards or whatever. They won't play these little games where it's, talking animals and, with ducks or whatever. But they will sit and they will play your game because it's a game and that's what they really like about it. And then, you get them in that way and then you start to build up their skills and that foundation comes up and it's something that games have the power to do that probably a lot of other things out there do not.
Maria, I think I probably know the answer of this question, but just, you know, talking with you and just looking at your facial expression, how do you feel personally about just how far you guys have come to this moment now, being named one of the top 50 startup tech companies and going to showcase in San Jose later on this month? How does that how does that make you feel? Because I feel that you like just feel a sense of pride, and I just like to ask that.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited about what we're doing. And I think any day that you can get up and you can say, you know what, I really feel like I'm doing something that's making people's lives better and making the world better. And, little things incrementally lead to big things. And running a startup, some days it's amazing and it's wonderful. And some days have to sit back and say, oh my goodness, okay, we're going to get through this. And tomorrow's going to be, it's micro wins and micro losses. But we're getting to the point, especially when I get to go out and get the games in kids' hands, or when we look over the product in our teams, where, starts going, oh my gosh, this looks really good. It's all the pieces are starting to come together and it's so rewarding. But it's also, really sometimes daunting because you're like, we have so much more that we want to do and that we plan to do. But I wouldn't trade it.
As a startup company and putting the whole team putting themselves out there with this innovation and this product, what kind of advice would you give other ones out there who may be thinking about their startup company in the tech and innovation world, and they feel that, well, it's just too hard. I want to stay in my box. What kind of advice would you give them?
Well, if you're really afraid of it being hard, it's probably not the field for you. But
Absolutely.
one of the things I see too is, if you're waiting, if you really think it's something you want to do and you're just waiting for the right time, there never is going to be the right time. It's always going to be, maybe I'll have a little more money in the bank or maybe I'll be a little more set, But I think if it's really something at the end of the day that you think about all the time and you think you really want to do it, then you should go, look into doing it. I'm not going to say quit everything and just, whatever, but start putting the pieces in place. It's really rewarding, but it is a lot of work and a lot of work that people don't see. It's kind of like sports, sometimes you hear about the $1 billion companies or they're making multi-million dollars. And there's a lot that goes into getting to that point. But, I can't think of something else I'd rather be doing.
And Maria, that's why I'm a big advocate for startup companies. Because you look at the companies who have the big slush fund or the war chest, who's able to just inundate all the airways with this new
Right.
innovation. You know, I'm for the startup companies. You know what I mean? I'm for like the mom and pop store in the corner. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
these are the ones that you feel a closeness to, that you feel a sense of community, who've been in the same struggle as we all have. Not just somebody looking to ingratiate their pocketbook, but someone who knows the struggle, who's been through the school system, who has kids, and who knows that we need all the help we can when it comes to education.
Oh, and that's the thing, and education, I always say it's not very techy, which is what I talk about. Like they talk about what's tech is sexy, investor sexy, and it's not. People don't want to necessarily invest in education as much as they want to invest in whatever's going to be the next hot, like I said, a food delivery app or things like that. But it is going to be far more transformative and important to society than I think almost anything else. I mean, what's more important than educating our kids? And I am hard pressed to find something better.
Now, Maria, I know when we talked off air, you told me not to put you on the spot, and I promise I won't. But I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I read an article about you, about women in tech, women of color. Was that you?
I maybe I've talked a
Okay.
lot about that. I've been involved in a lot of those
Yeah, because
conversations because it's important, and there aren't. You will hear people say, I took issue, and I brought this up before, with the Facebook, survey that basically said, we'd hire more minorities, but there just aren't any qualified ones. And I'm kind of paraphrasing it, but that's what
yeah,
a lot of people took away from
I
it.
hear you.
But yeah, there's not enough women in tech. There's not enough minority women in tech, and I think that that's something that needs to change. And that's something that we try and be really, visual about, and we try and be really out there because we have two Latina tech founders, and that's important because you. I think one of the things that discourages a lot of kids, and I go to schools and I talk to them, and that's one of the great things about our job is they don't see people like me or like themselves. And if
Mhm.
you don't see people like you might not think that it's possible. I come from a background where it's like, oh, you don't see anyone like me. Well, that's all right. Get out of my way. I'll be the first one. But not everybody wants to push and force that, and it can be really frustrating. And so we try and be really visual and vocal about that because I think the biggest way to enact change is to work towards being part of it.
Well said, Maria. And let's get people to that website. Click on trying this amazing app. How can they do that again?
Yep, it's www.7generationgames.com. I always say seven like the number seven, because but www.7generationgames.com and check us out and let us know what you think. We always want to hear what people think and get feedback because that's how we make games better.
And let our audience know about you. You have a journalism background, and I made a journalism faux pas. I didn't ask you, how'd you get the name 7 Generation Games? How'd you get that name?
No, well, we started working on tribal schools, American Indian reservations, and there's this kind of a tribal belief. So it's not specific to any one tribe. That you should look at not just what you do, the impact that it has, not on today, not on the next generation, but on the impact it's going to have 7 generations from now. And we knew that story, and we thought that that is exactly what we want to do because it's easy to say, oh, I made a difference today and tomorrow, but when people look back generations from now, what difference will you be able to say you made? And that's what we're working toward.
Maria Burns Ortiz, it was amazing talking to you, and I'm so glad I was able to reach out to you and have you on because I think what you guys are doing over there is amazing. I'm sure the audience can feel what I'm feeling, the love and compassion that you have for ones out there, not only for the students, but for the teachers, administrators, you name it. You guys have everything.
Parents who don't want to fight
too.
with their kids about doing homework.
Yes. If you talk to my mom, Maria, she'll tell you about the fight her and my dad had with me when I was younger when it came to doing homework. But you're absolutely right. And it makes it fun too. That's the cool thing about it. And tell the team over there, keep on moving and keep on climbing that ladder. And you have a friend and just an advocate, what you guys are doing over there. And thank you so much for joining me. And do you know the way to San Jose?
I'll be there on the 20th, so I will.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, my dear. And you have an awesome day.
Thanks, you too.
Well, I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. Our very special Tech Zone Women in Tech, Cindy Stevens from the Consumer Technology Association, editor-in-chief of the Innovate magazine for the Consumer Technology Association. Don't forget Sanya Zipan, homie. Get that app if you want those kids to clean up that room, teach them some life skills. Thank her for joining us. And the lovely, lovely Maria Burns Ortiz, joining us from 7 Generation Games. Maria, congratulations to you. Congratulations to Sanya, top 50, top startup tech companies by Tech.co and the Consumer Technology Association. Congratulations to you all. We'll see you next week on the Tech Zone. Remember, connect with me at paulonwheels.com, paulonwheels.com, and remember to love those who can't love themselves.